It's so appropriate that we're finally doing this movie, because I've had cameras throughout your house for, and I think we've talked about it before. We've talked, and probably recently we've talked about how I think it was our 150 episode where I was saying I normally see you during the podcast, but I could see you in person, and it was just, it was a nicer touch than the cameras that I typically have set up in your house. And so this is just nice. It's nice to feel like, okay, I'm not the only one. It's not just me who is a bit of a voyeur, but only like a voyeur when it comes to mundane. Like, I just like to see you brush your teeth. And I like to see, you set your alarm clock before you go to bed. I like to see you stub your toe on the foot of the bed. It's those things that I think really capture the Peteisms.
Which I do arguably more than most average human beings.
I wasn't going to say anything. But when in 30 years, when you and your partner renew your vows, I probably what's going to be like a 45-minute montage of you just stubbing your toe, and I'm going to be able to show that. And I think that's it's going to catch people off guard. No one will see that coming, and it'll just be like, people will walk away from it going, wow, I thought I knew Pete. I mean, I'm his mother, but clearly there is no knowing a person the way you know a person when you have a 45-minute montage of them stubbing their toe on the bed.
Huh.
Yeah. And I've recently got good at like blurring stuff out too. So like all those clips where you do it and you're naked, don't worry about that. That is no one will know. Well, they'll know, but they're not going to, no one's going to see anything. So I just rest easy. You're in good hands.
I had a whole bit ready because, I took a week off. You and some guests carried the torch.
Yeah.
But that bit is no longer relevant. And we had a friend on the show. It's probably 9 months now. It was around Christmas time. Friend of the show, Stefan.
We gotta
get him back.
I think this is the longest bout that we've gone without him.
But we reviewed a movie called Love Actually, and that movie, I feel very relatable because there's that whole sequence where the friend is like videotaping the other friend at the wedding, and Keira Knightley's like, "Yo, homie, what's up?" And coincidentally enough, I think one of them was named Peter anyway. So now I went from haha to creeped out to now this is spooky. Just the number of connectivity, like the connection between that scene. But that explains that blinking light in my room, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, that's a decoy. That's so that you don't,
Welcome to the Movie of Men podcast. We're not watching you. We're chatting. You're listening. And I'm Peter. The camera fiend is Brady.
I'm all about visual media. That's why I started a podcast. I just want to say I'm recording in a room.
Sure. Me too.
Okay, cool. So moving on. No, I'm recording in a room that I've never recorded in before. And I've set up what I think is some what I'm hoping is adequate. I've taken steps to hopefully have provided adequate sound dampening. But I'm not, I'm only like maybe 50% confident in the fact that it's going to work. So I don't know. I might sound like I'm echoey in a big reverb chamber. Right. Similar to our Shang-Chi episode, but for different reasons. And so if this, and I'm ordering some more, like some acoustical paneling. And so if this room, if this setup doesn't work, I will return to I will go back into the closet and then come back out of the closet when the sound dampening panels arrive, try it again. And if the sound dampening panels don't work, then I guess I'm a lifer in the closet. I will be in the closet for life. So,
well,
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. We got back on the voting train. 1998 had 4 selections for now. And the audience had their say. We had Pleasantville, Rush Hour, Night at the Roxbury, and then Truman Show just came in like a bull in the china shop and said, "Give me all the votes. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Goodbye."
Yeah,
quite literally.
I guess I kind of wasn't surprised by the voting outcome. Because the other films that it was up against it was a weird bracket. It was a diverse bracket. Yeah, I don't know. Rush Hour. So my 2 options were Rush Hour and Night at the Roxbury.
Sure.
Rush Hour has sentimental value to me because I just, I grew up with that movie.
Yeah.
Particularly this, I think we owned the sequel on VHS.
Oh.
Loved the sequel.
Yep.
Night of the Roxbury, I didn't grow up with. I saw that when I was like 17. And it's very niche. I get that it's like SNL humor.
Sure.
And so I'm not surprised. Like I know it's a film that has a lot of people who don't like it.
Sure.
Or it's not their type of thing. But I know that it's also a cult classic. And so I think seeing how it fared, which I think it got maybe 1 vote or maybe 0.
Sure.
I think it was just very telling of our listener and like what they're into and what they're not.
Yeah.
Because it is. It's like it's certainly got its fan base,
Sure.
Fun fact before we get into your trivia.
Yeah.
I have prior to posting our vote, I'd never heard of Pleasantville. No idea what it is. I haven't looked it up. I didn't watch a trailer.
Sure.
On out of the prospect that maybe that was the one we were going to watch, I wanted to go into it completely blind.
Sure.
And I still am. I have no idea what Pleasantville is.
Do you have any idea?
I don't know who's in it.
You don't.
I know nothing.
So you have no idea of the cast?
No, I don't know what it is. Haven't got a clue.
Huh. I mean, so this is less of a big deal. Do you care if I say who's in it?
No, go for it.
So I think it's less enticing for you, but it is a Tobey Maguire film.
Ooh, no, I like that.
It's got some Jeff Daniels.
Ooh, I definitely like that.
Yeah.
Is it a comedy?
It's what Google defines as a comedy fantasy, and it's a light comedy in the sense that it's a light film. It's not entirely served just for chuckles and giggles.
Right.
A lot of other familiar faces like Reese Witherspoon is in it. Joan Allen. So star-studded, but star-studded for a point. It's not just like Ocean's 11 and let's throw a bunch of actors in a bag and here we go.
Right. It's not the Expendables.
for a few reasons. And if it interests you, one more thing, it's I'd say similar to The Wizard of Oz. No, I guess opposite to The Wizard of Oz. Pleasantville is like 80% in black and white.
Oh.
Yeah. It's I haven't seen it enough enough times to say, Brady, when we're done recording, go listen to it. It'll hold up. It's for sure amazing. I just remember seeing it maybe twice, and it's, from what I remember, intriguing, interesting, worth watching. But more just, if you're interested, I would recommend checking it out.
Okay. Well, it's definitely been on my radar for the last, week and a half, 2 weeks. So there's a very good chance of that happening.
That's cool.
Yeah. So trivia.
So, the Truman Show.
Yeah. Do you have trivia?
I've got a question for you.
So not so dissimilar to trivia.
Right. Oh, just wait. I'm gonna formally call this the trivia section.
Okay. Ooh,
and
I heard it this time.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
My question for you. This film was nominated for Oscars, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, like, was it nominated for an Oscar for light pole holder number 7?
Sure.
I just want you to say yes or no. Do you think one of the main cast, you don't even have to say who, but just one of the main cast members was nominated for an Oscar? Yes or no?
Okay. Again, I'm not. I will just say yes or no. I'm not trying to pick someone.
No.
I'm just thinking. I do need to consider how many people.
Sure.
In it, I think, because that plays into the probability.
Of course it does.
I can only think of one, maybe two, but like. Okay, I can think of two potential worthy of an Oscar performances in this. Only one of which you would actually be proud to win an Oscar. I'll tell you afterwards. I'm gonna say yes just to keep things spicy.
Sure. And then, so just to flush out your theory, who do you think it was?
If anyone's deserving of it in this, obviously it's Jim Carrey.
Sure.
The other person who I think could be deserving of it, like if I were Jim Carrey and I won an Oscar for this, I'd be like, yeah, I won an Oscar for my performance in the Truman Show. And everyone I told that to would say, oh yeah, I saw you in that. You were really you were stunning in that. The other person who potentially could be, has sort of like a really good acting performance, whatever, in this movie, would be the guy that plays Christoph. But I would be you would tell people, it'd be like, I've won an Oscar, and they're like, for what? And then you'd be like, for the Truman Show, and everyone would be like, you are in that, aren't you? Yeah. Like, it's not the same. He's in it so little, and like,
right.
And he'd be like, yeah, so, I'm the manipulative dick, and they're like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you are in that. That's
with
right.
The very late 90s, like, I don't know what the type of hat it was that he wears, but it's very late 90s.
Yeah, it's not a beret, but it's like it's like a distant cousin to the beret.
Yeah. Okay, so let's break it down. So, for you to say that yes, someone was nominated of this cast member.
Oh yeah.
That was correct.
Yeah, that's the only time anyone's ever applauded for me, so it's kind of an emotional moment.
And the answer was, indeed, Ed Harris.
Wow. Right. So yeah, he is in this, right? Yeah.
He's Christoph, yeah.
Yeah. I'd forgotten.
You raised the point of why I found this fascinating, because of all the actors, and really, not even all, just mainly, if it was a coin flip, yes or no, someone had been nominated, I would have said, well, obviously it was Jim Carrey, because he has 90% of the screen time. But fact of the matter was, this film was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Supporting Actor for Ed Harris, and the other 2 were like for Best Director and like the screenplay adaptation. So the only actor-related nomination was for Ed Harris, which I not that I disliked his performance, but I found it a bit of a head-scratcher. Of all the roles, I thought Jim Carrey would have garnered more attention.
Can you imagine Jim Carrey's response when he found out that Ed Harris had gotten a nomination?
Well,
Jim,
here's the thing.
The movie's up for some Oscars. Like, and he's like, yeah. Oh my God, go on. Yeah, Ed. What?
Tree Stump Number 4 also got a nomination ahead of you.
Yeah, like, well, what? What?
So, it's interesting because I'm going to drop a little bit of a bomb here, and then I'll just move on. For me, this is a top 5 Jim Carrey performance, and I'd even say top 3, and that might offend or upset some people because there's a lot of films that Jim Carrey fans hold dear to them that there's just more than 3. But I would hold by that. I would.
We could start an argument for top 5.
Sure.
I think top 3 is asinine and insulting.
I'm going to hold the top 3 because I tried making a list, and there were a bunch of films that I'm like, well, he's more notably famous for, but I don't like as much, or I'm not a fan of that performance as much. So for me, this, I might stick with that. Top 3 for me.
Liar, Liar.
Yeah.
The Mask. See, but then, and then you get into so Liar, Liar, The Mask, The Grinch, which I know is not high up on yours.
Yeah.
But then I think, I assumed you would like things like, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, I didn't, it's not my favorite.
And I Love You, Philip Morris.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah. See, those are like some more of his like dramatic offerings.
And see, I had trouble doing that too because it's apples and oranges.
On my list than yours.
Yeah, and it's just hard to know because like this is more of a drama, and in my mind that sometimes bumped it higher than a comedy. Not to say that his roles in comedies were inferior as far as acting merit, but the one thing I will just say.
It's hard to pin this down. It's like it's not a comedy because there aren't really any flat out jokes. It's just like a drama.
Right.
It's like it's a lighthearted while being surprisingly heavy drama that has some like his performance just has some Carreyisms that I think make it feel like at times Truman is a very animated character.
Oh yeah.
And I think that is what like strays it into having that comedic feeling, but it really isn't a comedy.
No, not at the forefront for sure. Apparently he took a pretty decent pay cut to take on this role because he wanted to avoid the typecast of always just being in comedies. And of all things, he was chosen after his performance of Ace Ventura to be in this role. And one last thing I want to touch on. Apparently, Robin Williams was considered for this role. And I can see it because they both have a equally as effective tool bag for such a role that's like you carry 80% of the screen time and have to convey so many different emotions, high and low.
I think I would like this film so much better.
Really?
With Robin Williams. Yeah, Robin Williams just does that like excuse me, he does that like introspective existential question kind of a threat, like this is like a watered down Black Mirror episode for us basically.
That's what I was walking away with. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, because obviously we're going to discuss like what they did and if that's but Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm going to pass the mic over to you.
Physically?
Yeah, so... Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
so everyone wait 3 to 4 business days while FedEx gets their act together.
No, I'm going to pass it over to you. And now, what would you like to formally call it? Like a housekeeping or like a shopkeeping?
No, let's talk shop, man.
Talk shop, okay.
So the Truman Show.
Okay.
Let's start with Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
A critic score
Okay.
of 95%.
Sure.
An audience score of 89. So
Okay.
its ratings are high. It is a high rated film.
Sure.
It was also quite profitable. So if we look at the worldwide gross of this film, so gross, for those who need some layman terms, basically means, not profit, but without taking away any of the costs, without taking just like the money that came in. So worldwide, it made $264 million, $264 million, and 125 million domestic, which nowadays, so that's 1998. So nowadays, that 125 million domestic is 245 million. It had a production budget of 60 million. Now, there is it's not without flaw, but a general rule of thumb, because the production budget doesn't factor in marketing, it doesn't factor in distribution, and those are both very, very expensive things.
Oh, okay.
Very expensive. Making a movie is easy. Getting your film distributed, that's a lot of work. It costs a lot of money. And so the budget, when you see a budget, that's just production budget. That's just, we made a movie. We have it's 98. So we have a tape with this movie on it. We have a reel with this film on it that we've cut together. It's our final product, but nobody knows about it. No theaters are playing it. Nothing. So that's 60 million. A good rule of thumb, if you want to get what did this film really cost, is you take your production budget and you times it, you multiply it by 2.5. So 150 million. Which means, oh God, I'm punching my microphone. So if we take that and we subtract that away from our $264 million, then in 1998, this film made about $115 million, which is really good. It's really good for 1998.
Okay.
It's really good for a film of this genre, for a film of this caliber. Jim Carrey's in it. Yeah, he's got a little bit of star-studdedness from Ace Ventura. But that's it. He's not a household name yet. He doesn't have that pull and that draw.
Oh no.
For sure. That he would from. So anyways, but yeah, so all in all, the world loves this film.
Sure.
Yeah, it's got some good Rotten Tomato scores. It made a bunch of money. I guess what I'm going to say to you,
sure,
is I might need you to convince me. I was like, yeah. So here's the thing: there have been times in the past where we've had to watch a movie for the podcast.
Yep.
And I've been tempted. I've thought to myself, I know this movie inside and out. Or I just watched it 5 months ago.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I remember it. And so there's been times where I've been tempted. I'm like, I'm just not in the mood to watch this movie. And I've been tempted not to. I've never given in to that temptation. I've always watched it. And I did this time. But that temptation was maybe stronger this time than it's ever been. And Jim Carrey's like, when we did our actors,
Yeah.
he made my top 5.
He did.
I think he made my top 3. So, I mean, Jimbo is he's my man.
Jimbo.
He's Jimmy. You know,
Okay.
born and raised about 45 minutes from where my ass is currently parked.
Right. In Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kidding. Canadian content for
which I'm
the
only
listener.
I'm only down here because tomorrow we're doing the big Nevada Area 51 raid. But that's
Remember when that
that's
was
neither
a thing?
here nor there.
Remember that? Oh,
This RV is the greatest thing I've. Yeah. When was that? It was like a year ago.
it
Year and
was
a half ago?
pre-COVID, so I think it was
Was
before
it?
a year.
Okay, maybe it was pre. Yeah,
And I
but all of a
remember-
sudden everyone was like, "Listen here, I'm mad as heck, and I've had enough. I'm so sick of the government keeping all of these conspiracies from us and whatever else. So I'm gonna get my pitchfork, my shotgun, and my bottle of shine, and." We're going to storm into this place. Not to mention the government has drones and like, you know, if they like, here's the thing. Now I feel like I'm Bill Burr on a talk show, late night talk show, and I'm just going to like go off on this thing. But here's the thing. If you're some either crazy conspiracy theorist, right? Like, here's the thing. I was watching this thing last night. I have no doubt that there is intelligent life out there.
Sure.
Just by the sheer volume of, like, it doesn't make sense. So there's something like, it's on Netflix. It's a show called Explained. And they're just all these little, like, short 25-minute episodes about, like, different things. Like, they'll explain cryptocurrency to you and explain to you the concept and the history of and the implications of monogamy and, like, all this different stuff. And it's actually really an interesting show. And they did one on extraterrestrial life. And there was, like, a scientist, PhD kind of person. And they were talking about, like, you know, the number of planets or the number of stars. The number of stars that are out there is something like 10 to the power of 22, which is an astronomical, incomprehensible number. And basically it came down to, you know, if only 1 in 10 of those is this, and if only 1 in 10 of that 1 in 10 is this, and only 1 in 10 of that 1 in 10 and 1 of 10 is this, then that still leaves like 100 million planets out there that have similar conditions to ours.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, okay, well then how could there not, like, you know, if we're talking 100 million, then at least 5 of them
Right.
probably have some sort of life, maybe intelligent, maybe not, but there's definitely living organisms other than just this planet. It just doesn't make any sense. So anyways, but if you're some dumb conspiracy theorist who thinks that, like, the government, you know, like that Roswell was a cover up and all of this stuff, which I love that stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. I love that stuff, but I love that stuff as like fiction, like sci-fi, whatever. Right. Or some greasy redneck hick that's like storming Area 51 because you think they're lying to you.
Right.
Even if you have a shotgun, let's take aside the fact that they are the government. You are an individual who, based on the escapade that you're on, are a firm believer that the people who you are attacking are in possession of alien technology.
Right.
They are going to vaporize your ass so fast. Like, what are you just like? I'm gonna get myself probed. Like, what is your plan, man? So, anyways, I don't know how did we get on this?
I have no idea, but I no regrets.
Anyways, Jim Carrey, he's great. I have no idea. I'm gonna look. I'm looking forward to going back and listening to this and being like, how in the actual hell? Oh no, we were talking about Jim Carrey, New Mexico.
Oh yes, right.
Anyways, Jim Carrey, I love him.
Sure.
And you know what? It's. I don't hate this film, but I don't love it.
Okay.
And
let me see.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah. Let me see. So I'm assuming, quite obviously, from how you're saying, you had seen it at least once before.
Oh yeah, like I don't know. This could be I've seen parts of it many times. This could be a fifth complete viewing.
Okay.
In my lifetime.
Yep. Okay, so let me just break it down. There's a lot to break down here. And before I get into all the different categories of why maybe this film is very good, I would say that none of them are the reason that I particularly enjoy it. Like, there's just emotional, I think on the individual level, the micro level of Jim Carrey's character, I think he captures a lot of things that resonate to specifically me, the viewer, when I watched it. So, just someone wanting to get out of the space he's always been in, to spread his wings, to do something, to simply love who he wants to love and not who he's felt forced into loving, to, having friends that he can truly feel he can trust, or that are sincere and that aren't maybe not where he needs to be right now as far as friendship. So just there's some human element to it by both the character that's written on the script and brought to life through Jim Carrey that I appreciated, and I appreciated the story, seeing that there's elements to that I really enjoyed. And I think that's why I appreciate this film. I think if we were sitting having a cup of coffee and I was forced to try and convince you to say why it's a really good film, again, these aren't the reasons that I particularly enjoy it, but it's definitely reasons I think a lot of people might enjoy it. I think it's interesting that in the pre-reality TV era, this film really kind of hit it on the head as far as just the concept of mass audiences watching one individual or specific individuals continuously, and the concept of human lives being recorded. So both for reality TV and even just social media, like when people have Instagram and live feeds and just around the clock, not surveillance, but around the clock content. I feel it's interesting that a movie hit on some of these things before it really took off, say 10 plus years later. And I just find that interesting. And it goes into these things and it asks us the ethical question. Is this good for Jim Carrey? Is it good for us, the viewer of Jim Carrey 24 hours a day? Is it bad, ethically speaking, for Jim Carrey? Or should we be guilty as the viewer? I think there's a lot of ethical breakdowns that we might get into, kind of like our Black Mirror episode, but there's the ethical component, the kind of predictive component that I hit on before. And then I think just as a piece of narrative, it's there's some interesting allegory weaved throughout. We've got Truman, true man, Christoph, off Christ. So he's this creator, but he's not. His goals are seemingly pure at times, but also not. I'm not completely convinced, and he's got these kind of ironic states where he personally guards his privacy, even though he has Truman, who's just open to the world. And just even the allegory continues where, as soon as people have watched Truman their entire lives, and then the show turns off, they turn to each other and say, yeah, let's pull out the TV guide, let's see what else is on. And I guess there's some reflection in what we can, as human beings, what we can kind of extrapolate from that. So I think what drew me to this film is the micro individual component, but kind of in those different branches that I highlighted, I think there's a lot of different things, a lot of different ripples that this movie covers, and some people can be interested in them all and interested in components, or at least to some degree challenge us of what is right and what is wrong in different circumstances.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me wrong, like I guess I'm just arguing its merit as a film, and why after watching it I went, yeah, that's really good. But it's not in my category of film that I feel the need to convince someone to love it, because even when we get into how we ranked it, it's not a film that I would watch over repeatedly. And I think that just comes down to enjoyment, also the type of film that it is. It's not like watching Avengers or something where you get a kick out of it each time. It's more like, I think if I watch this too much, it could become a little like a little macro and a little depressing in some degree. But I do think, I guess my point is, I really do think it's a good film, but I don't think it's one of my favorite films. I want to make that distinction.
Okay. One of your favorite Jim Carrey films.
One of my favorite Jim Carrey performances in films.
But
yes.
not a favorite film.
Yeah. And again, I guess if we were having a podcast about like, hey, let's rank our top 5 Jim Carreys, I think I would get a little weedy and little just having to get caught in the semantics of, I think it's my favorite performance of his, both of the actual performance and like the merit of the film. But definitely, when you say Liar, Liar or Yes Man or other films that I find just more light, a little bit more relaxing, a little bit more enjoyable, I might enjoy just pound for pound more, but aren't as artistically heavy.
Right. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, I would be interested to get into kind of breaking it down like our Black Mirror episode, like if there's kind of the actual underlying question that we could kind of spitball a little bit.
Yeah, well, let me...
sorry.
Yeah, well, just let me here. Let me
Please.
talk about I think it's a great premise.
Okay.
In fact, I think it's a golden premise. So my issue isn't with the idea of the film. I think my issue is with some of the execution. I think it gets boring. I think it's just kind of like a dry. So I was watching it with someone, and I kid you not, they were like, we paused it halfway through to like go to the washroom and top up our water and stuff. And I was like, so what do you think so far? And they were very excited going in. They were like more, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch this. And they were like, no, you've talked about this film a lot, and Pete talks about it. Anytime you guys talk about Jim Carrey, it comes up and whatever else. And so, they were like, I'm actually, I'm fairly excited to watch this. And so we got like halfway through, or like a third of the way through, and I was like, so what do you think? And they're like, it's really slow. Like, it's pretty slow. And I was like, yeah. And they're like it's just very anticlimactic so far.
Right.
And I kid you not, unprompted, they said, it kind of has that Lost in Translation feel.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I said, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, wow. Like that is bad. And so... It was amazing. I swear to God, unprompted. But yeah, so that's I think it's slow. The thing that really drives it home for me though, like
Sure.
the thing that negates this film's ability, that neuters this film's ability to be able to make me walk away from it going, wow, what a concept, what an idea, what a thought-provoking film. Because I don't think it's thought-provoking.
Sure.
I think it should be, but I don't think it is. And I think one of the reasons is, and I get that they like, a lot of the film is pretty tongue-in-cheek when it comes to like, the believability of some of it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that really hurts it for me. I'm like, this, I was like partway through, I'm like, this, especially for 1998, this is not possible. It's just not possible. He's like, they're in the car. When they get across the bridge, and there's like the road fire and the meltdown at the power plant and stuff like that. And they're like, I started thinking to myself, I'm like, at what point does the camera in the car lose range, or like, and that was before I forgot, or before I remembered, like, this is a dome, like the whole thing is one big studio.
Sure. Sure.
Which that technology, like the weather technology and everything, is bullshit. But we'll ignore that. But just like the cameras, just the sheer quantity of cameras, the quality of the cameras constantly transmitting over what? Like how from like I've done videos, I've done short films. In fact, there's a short film that I recently did, and it was I had to have microphones on the inside of a car and 3 GoPros mounted to the dash to get these angles and to get everything, right. and it's like a serious, it's like 17 minutes long. We actually just finished submitting it to Sundance. So I have a film in Sundance. And that was like in 2021, that was like a logistical nightmare. And I'm like, so this is bullshit. I'm like, second of all,
and even
the microphones, the fact that everyone is just constantly well mic'd, like, let's go. Okay, you know what? The camera thing, we'll ignore it. Sure, there's 5,000 cameras in this town, and they always just happen to be, there's a camera in this rock on the beach, just in case at some point in Truman's life he comes sits on this spot on the beach.
Right.
Then sure, great. But everyone's mic'd super well. And really what it comes down to for me. So there's just, there's a lot of like, okay, suspend your disbelief. Suspend a little bit more of your disbelief. Okay, we know this doesn't make sense and it's kind of a stretch and it's a super convenient and just kind of makes our story progress in the way we want it to, but please ignore the fact that this is total anarchy and doesn't make any sense. But there is no way. He's how old? He's like in his 30s?
30, yeah.
He's 30 years old. There is no way. And they do address a little bit that, there have been close calls. There have been people who have somehow made it onto the show, into the studio.
Yep.
But either everyone in the world, except for the 5 people who have made it onto the show and unsuccessfully pulled back the curtain, aside from those 5 people, everyone on the planet is absolute scum and has no moral compass and doesn't see an issue with this. Or the fact that it's been 30 years, which means it's been at least like 15 years since you could get this message to him and he would have the brain capacity to really fight back and question what's happening. The fact that it's been kept a secret, that he's living in a dome, bullshit. There's no way. There's no way. If it's happening in our world, if it's supposed to be a commentary on our world, 8 billion people or however many friggin' stupid people are on this planet, there's no way that someone didn't, you're like, oh, okay, well, they hopped into the thing and the security was really tough and pulled him off and escorted. There's no way someone didn't crash a plane through the friggin' roof of this thing because they were so morally distraught by what was happening, or show up and shoot the place up. And there's so much that could have happened, that probably would have happened after 30 years, that you wouldn't be able to prevent or stop or, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. So to me, a beautiful concept.
Sure.
But I'm like, the film just asks me to suspend my disbelief a couple too many times for me to walk away impacted by it. Right? So that's the thing. I think I realize this film's potential, but this film doesn't realize its own potential. And so for me, it's like it's a good movie, but I can't help but walk away disappointed from it because it should be so much more. It should, if it was just that much more grounded in reality, then I would feel that I would walk away from it like, oh wow, like that's crazy. Can you believe the journey he goes on? And then I also think the ending's too abrupt. Like I'm so desperate to see that conversation. Like he walks through the door and then it ends. At the very least, like I don't need to see him. I mean, it would be so interesting to see him confront Christoph. But at the very least, like we see that girl throw on her coat and run down the stairs. She's going to go meet up with him. I want to see that. I want to see a conversation. I want to understand the justification. Are his parents just terrible? What were they paid? Like what, there's just, I feel like a lot of films.
He was an unwanted pregnancy and he was adopted by a corporation.
For sure. But I feel like there's movies that are convoluted and like 10 minutes too long. I feel like this one is 10 minutes too short.
Okay.
I feel like there's some other stuff that I need. I need to see, like, he goes through and then, what is the, where's justice for Truman?
Yeah.
Where's is he going to be okay? I mean, he's totally screwed up. The guy's going to be in counseling for the rest of his life now.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, just to see him either confront Christoph and have Christoph feel like, like the biggest consequence for Christoph is he's lost his show. That is his big traumatic sad, oh, there goes my revenue.
Yeah.
Not, hey, I'm a criminal.
Yeah.
And the entire world is complicit.
But again, I think that's that's one of the extrapolations of the show that's going, something's wrong here.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways.
I think
get the hype.
I think you raised some good points. I think to me they fall in the category of, if in this circumstance, if I can forget one thing, I forget them all. And for me personally, I can view them just as a story point. But you do raise some points that I was kind of thinking throughout the film, like when they switched to it, there was a specific scene where they switched to someone's like button camera that was like perfectly aligned on Truman's face. And I was like,
yeah, what the hell is that? And it's like the thing button also, camera 4 or something.
Yeah. If I've learned one thing from this podcast, it's the importance and the nightmare and the headache that are microphones. Just as far as what a good microphone placed well can do and what a crappy microphone not placed well can't do. And I think you do raise a good point, just that everything was always in frequency, probably not realistic.
Everything was perfect. It just worked out. It was clean, crisp. It was high def video.
Oh, yeah.
It was like...
And again, I'm just meeting you in the middle here because it doesn't bother me, but I think you raised some good points. Another point on yours is, so this is 1998. So if we're backing the bus up, not even 30 years, but 25 years. So they had some component of this technology in the 70s. I don't know. Like at that point, I think like anything, like any construct in the story, if you start really breaking it or really start weeding through it, it breaks down. But yeah, if you backtrack this enough, this probably doesn't hold up.
Yeah, because like we're seeing him in 1998, but they're 30 years into this bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And let's say that, the show's undergone some crazy difference. Like we see, he's got a mobile that doesn't even, the camera's not even hidden. It's just pointed at him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But okay, then there's, at some point, once technology permits it, there's 5,000 cameras installed in this town, in rocks, in
right,
in billboards, in pop machines, in everything.
Yeah.
And not once does Truman pick up on that. It can't be that. It's not that big of a place.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see an exterior shot of the dome. It's really not that big. It's a micro town. So to also go, like, even though he's got this fear because of his father's, and that was a gamble, that he was going to end up with the specific emotional trauma that they needed him to end up with.
Yeah. For sure.
But, this dome from an outside view, it can't be much more than, like, I don't know, 5, somewhere between 5 and 10 square kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that big.
Yeah, it's definitely
in
limited.
30 years? In 30 years, he hasn't left let's say 8. He hasn't left an 8 square kilometer area? What? Like, there are people who haven't never gone very far, but you've gone further than that. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If you were convincing me to say a critique, I could back up what I said to the degree that maybe this film hasn't aged well, and we need to view it in the context of when it came out in the 90s. Maybe the concepts were a little bit more appropriate for what was there at the time, and then as maybe newer pieces of art have come out with dealing with some of these different ethical issues, like even Black Mirror. Black Mirror, it has 20 years of expertise as far as an industry advancement compared to when this came out in the 90s, is what I'm trying to say. So maybe we need to deal with this film with kid gloves, just saying, hey, they had some concepts in mind. It's not at the same level as stuff coming out in modern day as far as dealing with these topics, but I still think there's stuff that they tackle that's worth talking about, but maybe to a flaw is what I'm trying to get around at as a film. They could have dealt with it more on camera versus when the movie stops and you're having a discussion with someone like you and me are having. I'm intrigued by some of these questions that the film hinted at, but maybe it would have been a better film if it just dealt with them head on, and maybe was either shorter or the same length, but just the content was a bit more sharp and potent.
Yeah, I think that's, again, like, amazing, bold approach, bold idea. Failed attempt for me.
Well, because there's a lot of things, like, simple things that are really just skimmed over, and maybe that's all they needed, or maybe they should have been dealt with more. But just even times where Christof said he knew Truman, but Jim Carrey says to him, "You never had a camera in my head. Like, just because you watch me all the time, you don't necessarily know me. We've never had a discussion. We've never shared thoughts, topics, emotions." Or the fact that Christoph lies, but maybe he's actually telling the truth. I don't know enough about Christoph to determine if he was lying or telling the truth when he said there's no more truth in the real world than in Truman's world. So, like, just little things like this that maybe could have been fun, really unpacking, really getting to the kind of core of that issue, maybe it would have been a stronger film for people like you.
I mean, in that final, like, that's when the movie gets, when it like starts to redeem itself. Mm-hmm. Is in like the last 15 minutes of the movie, and then it's like, and then it's done. And then it's just so abrupt an ending, right? But because he says, like,
yep,
you know, in here, nothing will ever harm you in the world I've created for you. Right. And part of me is like, because he's like, and I don't know, like, I think he's just desperate, not thinking it out. Christoph is desperate, not thinking it out at this point. Because I'm like, now that he knows, like, what do you, like, there goes all, like, you're wanting him to continue. He's like, just stay. Just stay, Truman. We'll keep doing this. And I'm like, but he knows. And so he'll never, like, you know, your value is that he was real. And the only reason he was real is because it was candid. And the second it's not candid, then he's not going to be real. Then he'll know. Mm-hmm. There's embarrassing things that he'll never do. And he'll try harder to make himself look good, even when he's just lounging at home and like whatever it is.
You can't go back at that point.
You can't go back.
No.
But he says like, you know, nothing in here, nothing can hurt you. Bankruptcy will never get you. He didn't say this, but it's like, you know, it's implied. Right. I'll never allow you to die from a home invasion. Although he was about to let him drown, so I don't know, like,
that was,
you know, and it just gets weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the stuff that I was like, yeah, okay, so like it is. Like you are being, you know, yes, you've been lied to, but you've been lied to for 30 years and you've lived happily enough. And you're being, in some regard, you're being afforded an opportunity that nobody is given. Stay here. Stay in a world that I've created for you. Mm-hmm. Where you don't have to, you know, like you just, it's a safe bubble. It's a perpetual safety blanket, this world. And you can stay if you want to.
Yeah. But then that's one of those questions then that is a rich question. Maybe wasn't explored fully in this film, but it's a rich question. Is that really living? Like if I offered that to you, Brady, and if you offered that to me, would we be happy with that, knowing that what we're living in is just kind of an artificial thing that this is getting kind of meta here, but like part of the enjoyment of living life is knowing there's a chance that you could fail or the unknown. So yeah, I feel like Truman can't go back in that case.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, I think it's you know, if it's all you know, I mean,
yeah, sure.
It's somewhat comparable to, you know, Jim, John, Joan, you know, average Joe.
Yep.
Whatever, Marvin,
sure.
who will work in a cubicle for 40 years.
Sure.
And he hates it. He hates his job. His job makes him miserable. And there's a dream that he won't chase. He's not going to chase it. But he can't actually know, like, you know, Truman, if he stays, isn't capable of comprehending what he's missing.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know it. He doesn't know what he knows he's missing something, or at least has the fear that he might be missing something. But, I don't know. There was nothing, aside from just sort of the staleness of his monotonous life, there was nothing bad about his life.
Right.
Like, at all. He has a buddy that he goes and, there was a couple of times I was like, man, I want to go to a bridge with a case of beer and a bag of golf balls and just wail on it and just have deep heart-to-hearts with a good close buddy. But
how heart-to-heart
he's got
were
some
they?
Great moments.
How heart-to-heart were they, though?
Well, to him,
yeah,
ignorance is bliss. So I mean, again, now,
True.
That ignorance is gone.
Yeah.
But at the time, they were a total heart-to-heart for him.
Sure. Yep.
And you saw the conviction. I think they were a heart-to-heart in a lot of ways for the other guy, too, his best friend, because we saw conviction in his best friend. His best friend's crying because he's like, I would never lie to you, Truman. And it's that's the hardest, he's choking on that sentence.
I think he's an actor.
Yeah, but he is. But he's also been acting since they talk about grade school together.
Yeah,
and
that's
I don't
true.
think you could go that long without actually
feeling it,
becoming best friends.
Yep. No, that's fair.
Anyways.
Yeah. No.
Anyways. That's all I got.
I think that about covers it. I think
that wraps it up. All right.
Yeah.
So scale of 0 to 10, sir.
Okay. I gave it a 7.7 on my scale.
Okay.
And on a more traditional scale called Marshall scale, I gave it a 7. So they ranked pretty close. I won't get into the nitty-gritty of my scale because it didn't. What my scale tells me is how much effort I'd put into a film, and just for this specific film, it doesn't equate. So for the short of it, a 7.7 or a 7 is what I would give it out of 10.
Right. So, I mean, just is your scale broken this time? Because
it is.
7.7 would imply that you would get a babysitter and go to the theater to see this movie.
Yeah, and I this is where the scale breaks in this circumstance because I don't need to do that for this film. This film,
would you even buy it?
Probably not. But
would you even rent it?
I would stream it.
Right, that's different. That's I'm already paying for. Yeah, because you're I'm already paying for the service.
Yeah,
and it's there. Versus here is my $5 bill. And I need to make a choice. I will get one movie with this $5 bill.
Right.
It's totally different.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's low on the list. 7.7. Good God, your scale sucks.
No. It usually equates. Just sometimes it doesn't match the effort. But the point is, I think it's an interestingly made film.
When you weren't here last week and we did the Shang-Chi episode, we hated on your scale pretty hard.
I heard.
And then I came around and I was it got to the point, there was ribbing to the point that I was I almost switched sides and had to be whoa, okay, hang on. Let's actually defend the thing a little here and talk about the logic, But it was it was fun to not be the only, the only one who's a victim of the frustration of the senseless scale of Pete. It made me happy. It made me happy to be, because the people who were on last week are listeners.
Right.
And so it's just fun. It was fun. It was fun to hear them say, they were well aware of what the Pete scale is, and they were just as confused and lost about it as I am. And they're we know of the Pete scale. We don't really know how to use it. And I'm that's what makes it so great.
The one thing I will say, and you've mentioned this twice now with guests, about my affinity for giving films 10 out of 10. I'm pretty
we talk about that
confident
too.
I can name 2 films on this podcast I've given a 10.
Well, so that's interesting you say that. Because I have begun, we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
You didn't.
And I've begun the process
Really?
of building a spreadsheet. It's in you can go look at it, right? The listener, I mean, as of this date, as of mid-September 2021,
Right.
it's not available for the listener. It's not
Sure.
in our show notes yet. But you yourself personally can go into our Google Drive.
Okay.
And you can see it's very basic. I'm at this point I'm still just like listing films. I haven't even gotten into going through because it's a time like I have to go back. They're not written down anywhere.
Yeah.
So I have to go back and listen to like the last 10 minutes of every podcast episode we've done.
Right. Yep.
So, so it'll be a little time consuming. And I may, there may be some sort of incentive we could work out for some listeners to like, increased voting power. Like here's 5 episodes,
Right.
go fetch.
Yeah.
And the next time we vote, your vote's worth 5 or something stupid like that. So
I'm curious. There are I think 2 films that I remember giving 10s out of 10s, and I would still stand next to that, but we'll see.
yeah, okay, yeah.
And if that's
Yeah, we
the
will
case,
see.
if that's the case, 2 out of 156 is not giving them out willy-nilly.
It's not because I've given at least 2.
And I
Because
do.
I've given 1 to a film, and I've definitely given 1 to a Black Mirror episode.
Yep. I do think the 2, if I'm correct in the 2, they were like within 3 weeks of each other. So
Yeah,
it could.
so maybe that's what invoked
could be.
that feeling.
It could be. And you know what?
I think I gave 1 to. Did I give 1 to a Daniel Craig James Bond movie? No. I think I gave like a close. No, I gave him to categories.
Yeah.
I gave him to categories because I
Sure.
didn't like doing that either. You did that a lot. When we were doing 007 films. You would be like, especially when we reached Daniel Craig, you'd be like,
Right.
and the next category, what can I say? 10 out of 10. And so
Right.
that
Yes.
you did a lot.
That I did. But I mean,
Yeah, okay.
dude, it was Casino Royale. I mean, come on. Let
Yeah,
he
but it
use
was-
without
yeah,
sin
but it
cast the
wasn't-
first stone.
But it wasn't Skyfall. Anyways.
This is where we differ.
Anyways.
What
Cool.
do you give it out of 10?
I think what I'm about to say will surprise you. Because you gave a 7 out of 10.
I did.
I give a 6 out of 10. I still think,
Okay.
I think it's Jim Carrey. It's a good movie. It really is a good
Sure.
movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it.
Yes. Yep.
So my criticism has never been this is a bad film. I think my theme throughout this episode has been it's not what it should be. It's not what it could and should be.
Okay.
And so, it's a 6 out of 10 with the little asterisks on it that it should be a 9 out of 10. It should be a whoa. And that makes me rethink a lot of things in my life. I don't know why I turned into Keanu Reeves. Like, whoa. Whoa, that makes me like rethink like so much. Like, yeah. But it should be. It should really hit me. And it doesn't.
Cool.
So, slightly above middle of the road.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of slightly above middle of the road, our friend Marshall.
Hey fellas, this week I watched a black and white Estonian film from 2017 called November. It was essentially a medieval fairy tale with some surreal elements and dashes of horror and grotesque at times. What did you watch this week?
Okay. I can't say that I haven't seen this film, and I can't say that I've seen an Estonian film. But I am like my lineage, my last name, my bloodline is Lithuanian, which is like part of the, you've got Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia. So. So I'm intrigued, and those countries don't get enough film recognition. Like in Hunt for Red October, everyone knows Hunt for Red October. He's the Sean Connery's character in that film. Everyone thinks he's Russian. He's not Russian. He's a Lithuanian.
Oh,
and so that's my bloody namesake right there. But that's it. So anyways, it's exciting for me. I'm like, Mazel tov, like the wrong culture. But
right.
I don't speak any Lithuanian. I don't speak any Estonian. I got nothing. It's, it's the same as a redhead going, yeah, I'm Scottish. Well, are you? Or are you just a redhead? Like, are you, somewhere down the line, do you really have that, like, that haggis pride, or are you just, you just freckle a lot when the sun comes out? But anyways, it's exciting for me to hear representation from that part of the world.
See, it's exciting for me to hear because the next time I want to watch a medieval Estonian village where there's a group of peasants using magic and folk remedies to survive the winter, and a young woman tries to get a young man to love her, that is, there's not enough screen time given to things like that.
Sometimes that mood strikes, and there's just not enough. There's like the potential to scratch that itch. It's just not always there.
Although I do say that. I say that jokingly. I'm sure it's actually a super interesting film, and horror fantasy is an interesting subgenre.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. But all things aside, what the hell did you watch?
I have to say, what I watched was not very right home worthy. I watched the new Cinderella musical on Prime Video.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Like,
Yeah,
I haven't watched it, but I saw, I saw it pop up.
I it was one of those films where I don't think it was really for me. I like musicals, and there are musicals that I really enjoy, and it's not my favorite musical with Pierce Brosnan in it, which I can say wholeheartedly. I just wasn't really into it, and so I'm not saying it's poorly made. It just wasn't for me. And the only other film I watched was a film from 2020 called Tesla. The cast was interesting. It has an actor who I really enjoy, Kyle MacLachlan. It has Ethan Hawke. It also has Bono's daughter. But the film, obviously, is the title, you can deduct it's about Nikola Tesla. The film I thought was going to take a more creative route, and instead it really just took here's a biographical storyline that you could have read on Wikipedia and been just as interested or found just as interesting. So I found it a bit of a flop. I would say it could have been a lot more interesting if it had gone down some different storylines that I was interested in.
Right.
What did you watch this week?
Well, it's been a bit. I talked to, so what you missed was I watched Cruella again.
Yeah.
And something else. Oh, I can't remember what it was. Anyways,
Friends.
doesn't matter.
You're still on the Friends bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm still working on Friends. I'm like halfway. Yep. I'm like nearing the end. I got one episode left in season 5.
Huh.
One episode left in season 5. And I'm also this weekend planning on picking back up the 24 kind of,
Right.
I kind of faded out of that a little bit. And I want to get back because I've like faded out in the same spot that I've faded out all other 3 times I've tried to watch the series. I'm like I've like stopped watching at a point that I've seen up to but never passed several times.
Huh.
And so I got to just like, before too much time passes and I'm like, I really should start it over. I want to like not drop the ball here. I want to keep going. But the films I did watch this past week, I watched 2. I watched The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh.
I love the Conjuring film. I love the Conjuring universe. Like, as modern day horror films, I love that whole universe. But specifically the main installments, the actual Conjuring films. You've got The Conjuring, you've got Annabelle, you've got The Nun, stuff like that.
Yep.
But the actual Conjuring films, oh my goodness, because all three actual Conjuring films are based on true stories, and it's just so it, like, I love watching it, and then I love going online and reading afterwards about, like, you know, and seeing pictures of the actual people and, like, you know, and like listening to, and this is gonna, like, you know, this is totally not your ball game, but like listening to tapes from the like actual tapes from the exorcisms that I've just watched, and thinking to yourself, like, oh my goodness, like, holy cow, like, it's one thing to hear it and see it in a movie, but like this is an actual recording, like, this is aggressive. Anyways,
yeah,
I watched that, and then put out on our I have to say, so the last week, I do most of the managing of our Instagram page. In fact, I would say I do all the managing of our Instagram page. And my stories game. My stories game has been big.
Nice.
Been doing lots of stories, and so we're starting a new segment. It's just simply a name that movie segment. So anytime I'm like sitting down to watch a film, you know, I'll snap a screenshot of something that I think is like, yeah, maybe you'll get it, but it's not like Forrest Gump sitting on a bench. It's like a slightly more abstract thing, so you have to like know the film to really get it. Anyways, I posted one, and someone commented and said, so the film was the female Ghostbusters, like the remake, the Ghostbusters remake. Yep. And the best response that I got for that, you know, lots of people said, oh, the female Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters 2016 or whatever it is. And the best answer that I got from someone was the wrong Ghostbusters. Yep. Unfortunately, you are correct. And so I watched that with someone who hadn't seen it yet. And so it was like, you know, it was, okay, well, you know, we've been talking about it. We've been talking about how bad it is for a while. Fasten your seatbelts. And, you know, it's got some funny moments. It's just not for me.
No.
It's just not right in so many ways. I'm so jazzed for the new one. I'm so jazzed. So I don't know. I don't know if you and I have talked about this. There's an event every year called CinemaCon. And CinemaCon took place in person this time.
Oh, nice.
It didn't last year, but CinemaCon, like, Paramount will show up and they'll do a presentation, and Sony will show up and they'll do a presentation. Warner Brothers will do a presentation. Universal will do a presentation, and they'll show trailers that no one else has seen yet. Sometimes they'll show footage. Like, they showed, I think, a good 12 minutes of No Time to Die if you were at CinemaCon. And a lot of the people who are at CinemaCon are theater owners and theater chain owners. And so it's basically look, this is what we have coming out. It's like a shareholders meeting almost. It's like, this is what we have coming out.
Right.
And it's all to entice these theater moguls to show these films, to buy the just, you know, the screening rights or whatever to these films. And so they were doing the Ghostbusters presentation, and they like bring Ivan and his son Jason Reitman out on stage, and they do this whole, you know, whatever, and they say, we have, this was like 3 weeks ago or like a month ago now, but they're like, we have a little bit of a surprise for you. And I guess at that point you're thinking, oh, they're going to bring out Bill Murray, or they're going to bring out Dan Aykroyd, or they're going to bring out the Ecto-1, or they're going to show us a new trailer. And they're like, if it's all right with you guys, we'd like to show you the film. And so it was like the first night of CinemaCon, and everyone's there, and there's like these different presentations happening and stuff like that, where they show new trailers, and they show a little bit of footage and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, for like the next 2 hours, just total surprise screening, they just played the new Ghostbusters movie for the people at CinemaCon. And I'm like, dang. What? Like, can you imagine being for any film? Like, can you imagine landing tickets to CinemaCon? Whew. And be sitting there, and any film, right? You're sitting there and you're like, and they're like, okay, we are really excited about No Time to Die. Mm-hmm. We've had it finished for about year and a half, 2 years, a couple decades at this point. And we're really excited for it to come out. We were going to bring a new trailer to show you guys tonight, but we decided we'll just show the film. And so then all of a sudden the lights go down and you're just sitting there watching No Time to Die. You'd like wet yourself. You'd be like, what is this?
Yeah.
How? So anyways, wrap this thing up so that we can come back next week and talk about Batman.
Yeah. Check us out on our social media pages below: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, follow, subscribe. Please rate and review us positively wherever you are listening. Thank you for listening. Check out our Patreon page, our merchandise page below. Help us support the show. And like we say here at the Movie Man Podcast, it's not always Shakespeare, but it's genuine.
We've never said that. That's...
Oh, sorry. I read the wrong note. Sorry. Like we always say on the Movie Man Podcast.
Please stick to the teleprompter.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.